We're going to continue with chapter 5. We work with the while loop, and we talk about how it's a pretest. It's a pretest loop, which means we're going to be testing the condition first, and then based on that result, either the computer is going to execute the loop or is going to exit, right? I gave you some examples where we were never going to enter inside the loop because we have the condition first. Now we're going to start with a post test, which means first the loop is going to be executed and then the condition is going to be placed. If the result of the condition again is true, it will repeat the set of instructions. Okay, we have here, we start by putting do is the keyword, then the curly braces, and then in the last curly brace, in the closing curly brace, we put the while and the condition. And now we close the statement with a semicolon. Remember the other one, the while doesn't have semicolon. We start while, condition, curly brace, curly brace. No semicolon here. Okay. We test first. First is the test. And based on this, if it's true, we go inside, right? In here. If it's false, we exit. So there will be some cases where we never enter the loop. With the post test, at least one time we enter the loop. At least. All the time. Okay? So regardless of the condition, because we don't have a condition, we're going to go in. So do this. What? The section that you have inside the curly braces. Test the condition. Good morning. Test the condition. If the condition is true, you're going to go back. If the condition is false, then you exit. So if I'm going to, again, compare these two loops, the while is going to be, it can be none, right? This one, once. At least once. Okay, that is the do while. Here's the flow. So we have the statements. They're going to be executed again at least one time. We have the condition, and that's when we test. If it's true, we go back and we execute these instructions inside the curly braces. If it's false, that's when we exit. So the do while loop always execute at least once, what I have been explaining. Okay? The execution is going to continue while the condition is true. It's going to exit only if the condition is false. The curly braces are required even if the body contains a single statement. And we always have the semicolon after the condition. That is a required. So that's another difference that we have. The do while can be used in a menu-driven program to bring the user back to the menu to make another choice. Okay. This is the application, or one of the applications where we can do the do. To simplify the process of user input, use the to upper or to lower function. The to upper and to lower function is so that we can change the answer that the user gives us. Let's suppose that I have type an A if it's going to be adding a class. Type a D if you're going to be removing a class or cancel a class. Delete. Type a P if you're going to print your statement of charges. And type X if you're going to exit. The user, I have here capital letters, right? A, D, P, and X. And we know that if I have do, and then I have while, and I'm going to put here. Let's suppose that I'm going to be comparing this A, while A is equal to the answer that they give me. And in the answer, they give me lowercase a. what will happen here if they give me a lowercase a? Is that true or false? It will be false, right? So it will exit. What if I want to go back? So instead of putting answer as it is, as the user gives it to me, I can use the to lower or to upper. Here it is, to upper, which means change it to an uppercase or change it to a lowercase. And the only thing that I need to do is use this function. Remember, when it's a function, we use the name to upper, and then in parentheses, the variable that we want to change. In this case, it will be ANS. So regardless of what the user gives me, this is always going to be changed to an uppercase A. And now I can make a better comparison. That's why sometimes when you type your email, you put your first letter is capitalized, right? Because that's the way that the browser is set up. And then you continue, and it will still be correct, even though in the database they have your email address all in lowercase letters. Or you, by mistake, you have your caps lock on and you type your email and it's all in capital letters, and it will still be correct. Why? Because they are using this type of functions to change it to a lowercase or to change it to an uppercase. So here we have, okay, do something. Here's the code to display a menu and perform some actions. And then we have here another choice. Another, give me another choice. Type an N or a Y or type an N. So I have to check here if the choice is either uppercase or lowercase, right? So because I don't know what the user is going to type. I'm asking for an uppercase Y, but they can type a lowercase y. And if that is correct, the letter is correct, but the case is not, so the whole thing is going to be false. So to change that is when we use to upper, just like I explained, and then in parentheses choice, and then we can compare it with an uppercase. Or we can put it to lower, get choice, and then compare it to a lowercase y. So those are two functions that are very useful when we're working with menu or when we're working with any input that the user gives us. So those are the two whiles that we have. The while, which is a pre-test, and the do while, which is a post-test. Questions on this? Okay, we're going to start with another type of test that is a test that is going to bundle 3 instructions in one. It's a 4 test. This test is a pre-test, so that means it's going to check before it goes into the segment of the loop. This can execute none, just like the while, or 1 or more times, depending on the result, right? It's going to be made of 3 parts. I told you it's a bundle. First is the initialization part. We also put semicolon, and then we put the test will be there, the condition, and then an update section. So it has 3 different parts in one. We start with the keyword for, and everything is going to be within parentheses. So we're going to have 3 statements here. The initialization, the question, and then the update. They are all related. If I use a variable in the initialization, that is the variable that I'm going to be using the test, and that is the variable that I'm going to be updating. If I don't do that, then it's going to create an infinite loop. So we're going to have a control variable always that is going to be repeated again in the initialization, in the condition, which is the test, and in the update. And then within the curly braces, all the statements that we want to repeat. With the for, is very useful because we can specify how many times we want the loop to be executed. With the while or the do while, we can't decide. It's going to be, in most cases, given by the user, by an answer that the user gives us. Okay. When we have a for, we can control it with a control variable. We can say, okay, this loop is only going to be executed 5 times. This loop is only going to be executed 10 times based on this: initialization, test, and update. The format is going to be for, again, the parenthesis, right? And then let's suppose that I'm going to be using the letter C. C is going to start to 1, semicolon. I'm going to repeat this, and I'm going to put C greater than 3, semicolon, and then I'm going to put C plus plus. What I'm doing here is I'm initializing C. C is set to 1. I'm going to be testing right here, and then this is going to be my update. The first thing that the computer is going to do when it finds that, here we have the example, is going to do step number 1, which is going to do the initialization. I have 3 statements. Which one is the computer going to do first? The initialization. So it's going to set to 1. Yes, Sector? Then the second thing that it's going to do is going to evaluate the expression. If it's true, it's going to go inside the loop, just like the other ones. If it's false, it's going to exit. In this case, what will happen in this example? It will be false. So do we go inside the loop? No, it will skip, right? So from here, it's just going to jump here. It never going to do this part, because immediately it exits. In the example that they are giving us here on the bottom, they have count is set to 1. And then they have count, second step, is less than or equal to 5. Is that true? Yes. So it goes inside the loop and is going to display hello. So it's going to put in the screen the word hello. It hits the end of the curly brace, which is the loop, and then it goes back. And when it goes back, that's when it's going to update. So we have count plus plus. We know that count plus plus means at 1, right? So we had a 1, now we have a 2. Then it's going to evaluate once more. So it's going to go back. It's like it will backtrack, and it's going to check. Is 2 less than or equal to 5? It is. So it goes back inside the loop, is going to display hello, hits the end, goes back, increments again or updates. Now we have a 3. It's going to ask, is 3 less than or equal to 5? It is. So it's going to display hello again. Goes back, increments. Now I have a 4. Is 4 less or less than or equal to 5? Yes. So we have hello. Goes back, increments. 4 plus 1 is 5. Is 5 less than or equal to 5? It is. So it's going to again display hello, goes back, and it's going to increment. 5 plus 1 is 6. Is 6 less than or equal to 5? No. So it breaks the loop and it's going to exit. How many times did we go inside the loop? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's exactly what we have here. That is our limit. Okay, so with the 4, again, we have a bundle, right? We have 3 steps in there in the 4. They are all separated by semicolon. First, we have the initialization. Then we have the test. Depending on the result of the test, either we go inside the loop, this is our loop, or we exit, right? When we go inside the loop, once it finishes with the instructions, it's going to update. So that is instruction number 3, right? And then it tests again. If it's true, again it goes inside the loop, and then again it's going to update. It's like the update is part of the loop. Okay, let's see. Remember in the problem that I gave you, we were asking the user, give us a limit so that we can add the numbers, right, up to that. If they gave us a 3, it was 1 plus 2 plus 3, right? If they gave us a 5, it was a 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. And we got the total. And we had to use a while, okay? In the while, we had more than one instruction, right? We had to add, we had to increment the number itself, and we had to update. When we use it with a for, let's suppose that we have this. I'm going to change here. This is going to be, let's see, limit. Okay, and we have here C out. This is the same problem that you did. Enter a limit. And then we have a C in. Limit. Okay, we start by giving this. Let's suppose that the user enters a 3. So we have in limit, we have a 3. And next line is going to be put 0 in sum. So sum is 0. And then open num. Num has nothing, right? The garbage, whatever there was in memory, that's what we have there. So we have this, we have this. Then we start for. What is the first thing that we do in the for loop? We initialize, right? So we put 1 into num. So here it is. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, we can put int limit here. Yes, it's a variable. So we get, the first thing is the initialization, then we have is num less than or equal to the limit. Is that true or false? Limit is what? 3. What is num? 1. Is 1 less than or equal to a 3? It is. So it goes inside the loop, right? Here's my loop. I'm going to use the curly braces so that we can distinguish clearly which one is the loop. So this is my loop, and I'm going to be adding num, add it to sum, and leave the result in sum. That's the way that we read this line, right? So num is 1 plus 0, which is sum, and we leave the result in sum. So now in sum we have a 1. This is the end, so we go back. When we go back, what do we do? Repeat everything? Update first, right? Update first. So we're going to be updating num. Num plus plus means add 1. So 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. Then, after that, test. So we do test num, which is 2. Is it less than or equal to limit, which is 3? It is. So again, we go back in, and we're going to be adding num to sum. Num is 1, num is 2, sum is 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, and we leave the result in sum. So we put it in right here. We hit the end, so we go back. When we go back, what do we do? Update. So updating means add 1 to num, 2 plus 1 is 3. And then, after we update, we test again. So we have 3. Is it less than or equal to limit, which is 3? Yes, it is. So we go back into the loop, and we're going to be adding num to sum. 3 plus 3 and we're going to leave the result in sum. So 3 plus 3 is 6, and we leave it there. And then we go back, and we're going to be incrementing num again. So now we have a 4, and then we're going to be testing. Is 4 less than or equal to a 3? No. We break the loop, we exit, and we go to the next line underneath the loop. And that is going to be the sum of numbers 1, 2, we will put here limit, right? Something is going to be sum, which is 6. So it's exactly the same result that you got from the while, right? But here we only use one line right here. Why? Because the update was already in here. So it's like a bundle. The for loop is going to help us when we know exactly when to end. Here are just some notes. Yes, there. Let's get used to the curly braces, because even if it's one line, we can get confused. Here they just giving you some recommendations. Okay, deciding which loop to use. Which one do we use? We have 3. The while, it's a pre-test loop. So the loop body may not be executed at all. The do while, it's a post-test loop. The loop body will always be executed at least once. And the for, is a pre-test loop. The loop body may not be executed at all. It has the initialization. The update code is useful with counters or if precise number of repetitions is known. So my recommendation will be, while sometimes we don't need to use it. That is when we are validating. Use this one when you're validating. Anytime that I ask you, you have to check if the values that they are giving you are correct. Anytime that when we are going to be doing a menu and you're going to get information from the user at the end, the menu has to be displayed regardless, right? And then we ask for the answer. If the answer is incorrect, we want to display the menu again. So that's when we go back. So that's when we use it. And the for is when we know the number of repetitions. When we know the number of repetitions. So here are the 3, the comparison of the 3 loops. Questions? Okay, we're going to do some exercises that we have in our book. And then you will be implementing this in a program. Just open your book. Okay, let's do 5.9. This is page 271. What will each of the following program segments display? Letter A. For int, here they are initializing, but at the same time they are defining the variable, so they put the int. Int count is set to 0. Do this while count is less than 6, and this is the update. And the only statement inside the loop is going to be cout, count plus count, and then display one space. So what will this instruction going display? What will this display? Try it. 0? Just a 0? I'm going to increase this font so we can see it better. And I think this is much better. I'm waiting for the answer. What will it display? 0 space 2 space 4 space 6 space 8 space 10. So how many times did we go inside the loop? 6 times, right? And we're displaying first count is 0, so it's 0 plus 0 is 0. Then count is 1, so it's 1 plus 1 is 2, right? So that's what we're displaying. And then the next time is going to be 2 plus 2 is 4, so that's what we're displaying. And then again it's going to be 3 plus 3 is 6, then 4 times 4 is 8, 5 times 5 is 10. When it gets to 6, 6 less than 6, it's not. So it's false, so it will break the loop. That's correct. Now the next one, B. For int value, it's a negative 5. Value, the condition is value less than 5. And we're going to be updating value plus plus. And we have cout value and a space. Everybody agrees with that? It goes from a negative 5 all the way to a 4. So how many times did we go inside the loop? 9 times? 10 times. 10 times. Negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 10 times, right? Okay. C. INTX. And then we have for x, it's assigned the value of 3, x is less than or equal to 10, and now we have a different update, x plus equals 3. So that means the increment is not 1, right? What is the increment? 3, okay? What will this display? Excuse me? 3 space 6 space 9? 336699. Why do you say that is 336699? Why? But we don't have curly braces. So what happens when we don't have curly braces? Only one line is considered the loop. Only one line. Just the first one. So it was correct. Only one line. If we had put curly braces before this cout and after this cout, then we will have 3 space 3 space 6 space 6 space 9 space 9 space. But regardless, how many times do we go inside the loop? 3. A 3, a 6, a 9. The next one, the control variable is going to have a value of 12, right? And it will be, that will be false. It's not less than or equal to. Okay, write a for loop that displays your name 10 times. How would that be? Write a for loop that displays your name 10 times. Anyone want to try it? How do we start? Your name is going to be within quotes. This is a loop, right? They are asking us to write a for loop. How do we start a for loop? For, with the keyword for, then parenthesis. What is the first thing that we need? The control variable, right? To initialize it. How are we going to initialize it? Count. We can use count. Okay, I don't have it before, so I'm going to put int count. It's set to 1. Okay, it's assigned the value of 1. Count is what? Less than or equal to 10. And the increment is going to be count plus plus. Okay, now in my loop, what am I going to have? Okay, Cout, and then your name. Maybe end line so that we can. Would that give us 10 times? Your name, your name, your name, your name? Yeah, you can put the variable before. Give me your name, and I'll repeat it 10 times. And the user gives you the name, and then the variable name can be displayed instead of the constant. Would that give us the name 10 times? It's going to go inside when it's 1. 1 is less than 10. It's going to go in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Because it's equal to 10. 11 is going to say no, it's false, so it's going to exit. Okay, let's do the next one. Write a for loop that displays all of the odd numbers from 1 to 49. Odd numbers. What are odd numbers? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, right? Those are odd numbers. Okay, so we want to add all the odd numbers from 1 to 49. Okay, so we start 4, 4, open parenthesis, int, x, okay, it's assigned the value of 1, less than or equal to 49, plus equals 2. Okay? And what are we going to have in our loop? Sum. We don't have sum, so let's declare sum. Int sum. Because we don't have it, so we need to declare it. Sum, let me put a 0 in it. What do we want to do with sum? Plus equals what? X. Okay, this is correct. Yes, everybody? First, we need to make sure that the loop is going to start at 1 and is going to end at 49, right? And the increment is 2. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, etc. 47 is going to go in, plus 249 is going to go in, 51 is not going to go in. And inside the loop, we're going to be getting the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, the 11, and we're going to add it to sum and leave the result in sum. So that is correct. Let's see the last one. Write a for loop that displays every fifth number between 0 and 100. Displays every fifth number between 0 and 100. So it's going to be, what will be? Okay, 4. Excuse me? Num. Let's put int num because we did not declare it before. Int num is set to 0. Less than or equal to 100. Num plus equals 5. Okay, so we have our loop. We start at 0, which is what they want, right? We end when it exceeds 100, and the increment is going to be a 5. So we're going to go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on, right? What are we going to put inside the loop? Sum. We want to add. What is it asking us? Uh-huh. So how do we display? Cout. Cout. Display what? Num. Let's put a space. And then we close it, right? So it's going to display my 0 first, then a space, a 5, space, a 10, space, a 15, space, a 20, space, a 25, etc. When it goes, if it's 100 is equal to 100, it's going to display it, right? And then it add increments. It's going to be 105. Is 105 less than or equal to 100? No. So it will break it. Yes? What is the difference this one and the one before? Because I don't see how much difference, but when we start the song, like on the graphic, it's different on the larger difference from that one to that one. Oh, because I made a mistake here. That's correct. It displays all the odd numbers, not sums. Why did I read adds all the odd numbers, but it's displays. That's correct. Here we cannot put sum. It's cout because it displays all of the odd numbers. So it will be cout. We will just be this x and a space. Yeah, when we are accumulating. Accumulate. And we can change sum can be any other name. I misread this. Is this place. Okay? Okay, we're going to then start an implementation of this whiles with a program. Where do I have my book? Oh, I have it here. Let me see, because I already marked the program. Where is it? Okay, it's going to be number 3. I thought I had marked it. Number 3, which is the distance traveled.